We now return to our top story, the visit of Qatar's Amir to India and the talks that happened between the two leaders. Prime Minister Modi, Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, a former senior diplomat, is joining us now. He served as the Consul General in Dubai and Ambassador in Kuwait. Good afternoon and welcome, sir. Now, the key outcome that we just learnt about, the ties have been elevated to strategic partnership between India and Qatar. If you could help us put that in context first.
Well, Shivendu, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. You have very rightly summed up the nuances of the relationship. I think that the India-Qatar relationship is too vital to be taken for granted. And some of the pillars which support the relationship are the huge Indian diaspora in Qatar, which comprises about 27% of the population there. The energy security partnership, the emerging partnership in newer areas of science and technology, and of course, the strategic aspect of the relationship. I think that the relationship demands constant nurturing, strategic foresight, and a clear understanding of the shifting sands of geopolitics. And I think this is what the government of India has in mind. Because if you notice, the interactions have been pretty constant. The Emir paid a state visit to India in 2015. Prime Minister Modi paid a return visit to Doha in 2016. And he again visited Doha last year. And now we have the visit of the Emir of Qatar. So all these underline the fact that India and Qatar share deep-rooted historical ties, and these are based on mutual respect, trust, and friendship. Let me mention what I underlined at the outset, that the diaspora is a very important pillar of the relationship. Qatar hosts about 830,000 Indians.
Right.
And these expatriates are not just cogs in the Qatari machine, but they play a very important role in its functioning in various sectors. Now, let me mention that Indians in Qatar are not merely laborers doing menial jobs, but they are the backbone of Qatar's thriving economy. There are engineers, doctors, IT professionals, businessmen, educators. All these are part of the vibrant Indian diaspora in Qatar. And significantly, from our point of view, they also send about $4.14 billion in remittances to India. So their remittances comprise a very significant part of the overall foreign remittances coming to us from other sectors where our diaspora is placed. Then, as I said, there is the energy factor. The energy factor is basically built around our requirements of liquefied natural gas. And Qatar has been a very reliable partner in this context. Now, there are some questions which are arising because there are other sources from where LNG is available. You know, for instance, the United States wants us to increase our supplies of liquefied natural gas from it. And certainly there are indications that the Qataris are concerned about this. Now, I don't think India will decrease its imports from Qatar simply because our needs are growing.
Right.
We have a long-standing partnership with Qatar. So while we may diversify our requirements, our imports of LNG, certainly I don't see that these will impact the sort of partnership which has been steadily built up with Qatar. And then, of course, there is the very important strategic aspect. You know, Qatar is a very small state in terms of area and in terms of population, but it plays a very significant role in the geopolitical arena of the Middle East.
Right.
And even beyond.
Professor Prabhu Dayal, in that context, we've also seen it playing a key role in the very recent negotiations as far as the Gaza conflict is concerned. So to understand the significance of India-Qatar partnership, we also have to understand the importance of Qatar in the current geopolitics in the region and the world.
Absolutely, Shubhendu. That is what I had underlined at the very beginning. Qatar may be small, but it is a very important player in the power politics of the Middle East region. As you said, Qatar has been playing a very important role as a mediator in the Israel-Hamas conflict. In fact, it has been at the forefront of trying to bring this conflict to an end. Now, Qatar has been this place where a number of Hamas leaders have been housed. In fact, they have lived there for quite some time. And this gives Qatar a certain amount of clout in regard to the role that various countries are trying to play in bringing this war to an end. And Qatar, along with Egypt and the United States, was right at the forefront of the efforts to bring about a resolution to this conflict. And I think there is growing international recognition of the fact that the role played by Qatar was very positive and very significant.
Right. And finally, Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, India's outreach to the West Asian countries, especially under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, and the leader-to-leader rapport. Prime Minister Modi goes to the airport to welcome the visiting dignitary, calls him brother, and that very warm hug. These gestures of hospitality, to what extent they also define the partnership between India and the region as a whole?
Well, the personal relationship is a very vital determinant. And Prime Minister Modi realizes this better than anybody else. We all see the close relationships which he has built with global leaders, and not just those in the Middle East, but all across the globe. In the Middle East in particular, because of the large diaspora, because of the fact that we have a historical relationship, he has really gone out of his way to cultivate strong relationships with the key players. And these include Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, the ruler of Abu Dhabi and the president of UAE, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, and the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Thani. So all these relationships are just examples of how the personal equations which he has built up. Now, as regards Qatar, we all recall that there was a lot of anguish in India and a lot of concern about our retired naval personnel who had been arrested on the charges of spying and who were under detention in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar. So Prime Minister Modi made it a very important agenda item for himself to get them released. And he developed a closer relationship that had already existed between him and the Emir of Qatar. And he paid a visit to Qatar also to thank the Emir for having released them. So that sort of bonding is very significant. I understand that one sailor remains to be returned. There are some roadblocks, some hurdles. But knowing our Prime Minister, he will work on that release because of the fact that he is trusted by these leaders of the Gulf countries. I may mention that the scope for increasing the relationship in various areas always remains, and therefore the focus of the Prime Minister is to build personal rapport with these important leaders and at the same time strengthen the bilateral relationship between the countries.
On that note, Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, thank you very much for joining us on the News Hour and sharing your perspective.